Okay, we're starting off the day with a silver and blue cripple lure, working on my hybrid lead core rig at 15 feet. I'm going to top line a gold and red cripple lure here at Sugar Pine Reservoir. Had great results on wedding rings and cripple lures here in the past, so I'm expecting good results. Fish on. That didn't take long. Right on top. Wow. Wow. He liked that gold. That brass, rather. Brass and red cripple lure. Getting it done right away. Wow. Gotta love that lure. That's what the cripple lure can do for you. I mean, that was, what were we trolling? 3 minutes? Man, that feels heavy too. This is a put and take planted trout lake, but there are some much larger fish in here. Don't know what this is, but we're about to find out. Oh, here we go. Now he's coming my way. Well, there we go. Got him. All right. Oh, that was a thrill. That was cool. So let's see here. So I got the lead core out, so I better get going. I'm going to foul the bottom. But, wow. He doesn't want to give up. Right there. Red and brass cripple lure. I'm so excited I can't even talk. So we'll get this guy taken care of and get the baits back in the water. That is a nice trout. That's a 1 pounder there. That's going to look good in the smoker. Nice. Hello folks, Cal Kellogg here. We're back in the classroom again for another episode of the School of Fishing. I'm kind of surrounded by mosquitoes here. They're driving me crazy, but anyhow, you've probably guessed we are here to talk about the cripple lure today. Let me get you a close-up of one. Here is a cripple lure. This is one of my favorite colors. I've probably caught more trout on cripple lures than I have on any other spoon. So I have a lot of confidence in them. I'm a believer, man. I've been fishing these spoons for more than 20 years, both trolling them, casting them off the bank at lakes, and casting them in streams. So let's talk a little bit about the lure, just kind of in general. Cripple lures are now put out by the Mackslure company in cooperation with Gary Morales. Gary Morales, he was a longtime owner of the Rmc Tackle company. He invented the cripple lure. It looks a little bit like a super duper, but it really has a different action and different applications. Gary invented the first one up at Shasta Lake to fish on Lake Shasta. He actually cut it out of a brass Boy Scout belt, and he put yellow tape on it, and he immediately started catching fish on it. And the design that you see today in the Mackslure packaging is almost identical to what Gary came up with many years ago. I've actually held that original cripple lure in my hand, and that was quite a thrill. Couple of things. This lure has a very unique action. It has a wobble, but it also has an unpredictable roll to it. It'll wobble and it'll roll out. It'll wobble, it'll roll out. So it's kind of a skip beat action. It's very unpredictable. And you know a lure has an unpredictable action when you're getting fish hitting it and they're getting hooked in the gill plate, they're getting hooked in the eye socket, they're getting hooked on top of the head. They're zeroing in on the lure and it makes that unexpected movement and they miss it, but they still get hooked. So that's how you know that they're striking at a lure with an unpredictable action. And unpredictable action often triggers strikes. That's why we zigzag when we troll. That's why we work the rod when we troll some lures. Well, with a cripple lure, that unpredictability is built into the lure. Another factor that I think plays greatly into the lure's effectiveness is this. Your fish, picture this. One side of the lure is solid. The other side of the lure is solid. But what do you see when the lure goes this way? you can see right through it. See that? So what I think happens is this lure's moving through the water and the fish sees it, and it's because it's rotating, he keeps getting shots through that hollow cavity there. So it's kind of a now you see it, now you don't kind of thing, and it appears and it disappears, and it just triggers strikes. So realistically, I only use these in a few different colors. There is a wide array of colors, and you know, the factor in fishing a color is really confidence on the angler's part. I think you need a dark pattern, and I think you need a light pattern, and maybe a couple of other patterns thrown in. I'll share with you my favorites. If I'm at a bait fish lake, or if I'm at a lake and I've got a high sky and bright conditions, this is my number one choice when it comes to cripple lures. The blue and chrome. I've written about this lure extensively. I've literally caught thousands of trout on this lure at lakes, you know, in the high Sierras and at big impoundments like Shasta, Folsom, Comanche. Anywhere I fish for trout, this lure is apt to see some time in the water. The chrome and blue cripple lure. It's very high on my list of spoons to put on when I need to catch a trout. And let's rewind just a hair. Gary Morales says he didn't get skunked at Shasta for 3 straight years as a guide because of this lure. He would fish his humdingers and his other offerings, but when the going got tough, the bite was off, he would always reach into the box and put on cripple lures, and he saved a lot of days for him, and I couldn't agree more. Sometimes I start out the day with a cripple lure and never change it. Other times I'm like, man, a bunch of stuff has failed to produce, and I end up with the cripple lure, and I end up catching some fish and saving the day. So, number one choice, bait fish lakes or during bright conditions, the chrome and blue. That does it for me. Now, up in the high Sierras, when I'm at a lake that has a lot of bugs, or when the light conditions are low, dawn, dusk, overcast days, I basically use 2 patterns, and I use them interchangeably. The orange tape, brass-bodied cripple lure. This one works killer at Eagle Lake. I've got some huge trout at Eagle Lake on this pattern. And the other one, very similar, it's just the red prismatic tape, brass body edition. And like I say, these are pretty much interchangeable. If I had to choose one over the other, I don't know which one I'd pick. I'd probably pick the orange tape version just because I really like orange lures at lakes like French Meadows and Davis, where the trout spend a lot of time feeding on insects. I like orange. Orange is tried and true. It just plain works. But having said that, I don't know that it's any better than that red and brass one. But anyway, if I had to choose, give me the orange. I think that's called crushed fire orange or something like that. But anyway, so those are really the only 2 I fish. The chrome and blue and the brass and red or brass and orange. Now, I know guys that absolutely swear by this Fire Tiger version. And I have it and I carry it around in my box. And it's very happy in there. And honestly, I don't fish it very often because I'm always fishing the other 2 and I'm always catching fish on them. And then finally, this is one I'll run every so often early in the morning. It is basically your basic chrome version, but it has black, or very, very dark brown, but they call it black prismatic tape on it. Early in the morning, I've had some dynamite results on this. I can't say that it's any better than the chrome and blue, but if you're looking to try something different, I'll put that on sometimes, and it just flat out works. I also have a few that have no tape on them. They work too. So anyhow, if you don't have some cripple lures in your box, you should get some. They will just flat out put fish on the stringer or in the boat for you. Now, when you're in a boat and you're fishing these, you can fish them at any depth, fish them off the downrigger, fish them off the lead core, top line them with no weight at all. It all works. Your target speed for the cripple lure is 2 to 2.5 miles an hour. That's the speed I prefer to troll them at. If I'm going to go faster, you're much better off with a humdinger, speedy shiner, something like that. If you're going to go slower, you're a lot better off running something like a Dick Knight, something like that. You can also, pair these with other lures that work well at that 2 to 2.5 mile an hour, you know, kind of range. So whatever your favorites are in that speed range. But anyway, 2 to 2.5. And when you're casting off the shore, well, what you want to do at a lake, just you want that action, so you're getting some of this, but you're also getting that rollout. Whatever that cadence is on your reel, that's the speed you want to be going. Cast it out, work it a few times near the surface, count it down. You know, remember to fan cast. You're on the shore, you can't cover a ton of ground, not as much as you can cover in a boat, so make sure you cover all the water that's in front of you. And for shore casting, work those points, work those pinch points, any feature that concentrates the fish. Deep water adjacent to shallow water, all that kind of stuff. In a stream, fish this lure just like you'd fish a spinner. Cast it across, and you can either engage the reel and let it swing immediately, or you can cast it across, count it down for a 2 or 3 count to get a little depth on it, close the reel, let it swing, then let it hang in the current below you, give it a little bit of that action, and then slow roll it in. So, and it's equally as effective trolling it, casting it, fishing it in a stream. It's just one of those lures that triggers the strike reaction from trout, and king salmon will hit it too. I've always told Gary, make a bigger version of this, Gary. He never did. Anyway, who listens to me? Anyway, I hope you're watching, Gary. I'm going to give you a hard time here. Anyway, that's about all I got to say. Get some cripple lures, catch some fish, have a good time. Please subscribe to my channel, and remember, the most important part to catching fish is getting off the couch and getting out on the water. I'll catch you next time. This is Cal Kellogg signing off. Have a great day, folks.